I really like it when I stand. You guys pay so much attention to me, right? I stood up, you guys were quiet, I sat back down, you started talking. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. I want to welcome you all to this really important day to the college as we dedicate the space that we call the library and give it a real name. That's important for us. So as I begin my remarks, I would like to welcome some special guests, the members of our Board of Trustees that we have here today, Chairman Sven Holmes, Trustees John Bell, Donnie Bryan, Lex Burney, Peter Bruns, Peg Duchesne, Danielle Troyan, and Alan Wagaman. The Foundation Board of Directors, Harry Weitzel, Bonnie Green, and Nicholas Abrams, who has two budding Seahawks there. No pressure. I would like to recognize the Landers Scholars that we have present. Please stand and be recognized. Very good. You may be seated. And especially important, Don Mehring of the Landers Trust. Mr. Mehring, please. Where are you? He's right there. Today's library dedication ceremony gives me a deep sense of gratitude and pride. Hey, it's good. It's all good. Hilda C. Landers' impressive lifetime and legacy of philanthropy speaks strongly to the lasting impact our college has on its students. Through Hilda Landers' story, we're able to get a sense of just the type of person she was. Hilda was born in September of 1902. She spent her early years here in St. Mary's County. She's actually a native of the county, and was a 1923 graduate of the St. Mary's Female Seminary. She taught at Roland Park School and the Calvert School. She lived a life of giving. Giving was anonymous during her lifetime. She simply, quietly wanted to help those in need. Giving was sustained. From an initial gift of $1,000 to create the Arthur E. Jr. and Hilda Combs Landers Endowed Scholarship Fund, to her extraordinary legacy gift that will outlive us all here at the college. She was passionate about poetry, baseball, and leaving the world a better place. And as we stand here today for this event, it goes without question that at a minimum, she has left St. Mary's College a much better place. Hilda passed in 1998. Hilda C. Landers' legacy was a champion for giving back, specifically to education, demonstrates selflessness and a belief in our future. At such a time as this, in our nation and in our world, we need greater understanding, greater compassion, a greater willingness to break down barriers. It is very fitting that our library, the gateway to knowledge and discovery for our community, will be named in her honor. Truly, one person can make a difference. Like Hilda C. Landers, each of us has a capacity to create a ripple of hope, quote, as Robert Kennedy famously stated, and I continue to quote, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring. Those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance, end quote. At this time, I would like to invite Board of Trustees Chair, the Honorable Sven Holmes, to the podium for remarks.
Thank you very much. We are here to celebrate and at the same time express our undying appreciation for the legacy of Hilda Landers. Her philanthropy clearly changed lives. And of course, when you think about the mission of St. Mary's College, it is our mission to change lives. So it should come as no surprise then that the two would come together. And in fact, come together they did. Going through the things that this philanthropy has created is an awesome list of contributions to changing lives. Just let me share with you a few of the things that have come from the two trusts that bear the Landers name. Among the issues that have totaled over $6 million, the Endowed Scholarship Fund, more than 2,000 scholarships of our students, including one of our speakers soon, in Allison. The Landers D'Souza Brent Scholarship for Baltimore students. The Hilda C. Landers Endowed Chair in the Liberal Arts. And great support for the Baltimore City Scholarship Initiative. And on top of all of this, a tremendous contribution to St. Mary's College Capital Campaign. This is her story. It's a story of devotion to education, to commitment to providing opportunity, and to love of students. And in fact, her story is also St. Mary's story on each of those pieces. We are a community of shared values, and Hilda Landers, first in person and then thereafter in spirit, has been a leading citizen in that community of shared values. So it's fitting, certainly, that we're here naming this library for her. A library is more than the place of learning, but the library is, in fact, the symbol of learning. Those who come to any campus, any institution of higher education, whether it's filled with books, as this is here, or whether it's going to be filled with handheld devices 10 years from now, as one looks at the library, one will always think, this is the symbol of learning. So with that, what I would say is to Don Mering, who I had the pleasure of having lunch with today and spending time with as the trustee, Don, it's an absolute honor for us to be here and to celebrate the legacy of Hilda Landers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Holmes. Those words were very inspirational when you think about this is the symbol of learning. And in 10 years, it's going to be filled with electronic things. That's a little bit daunting. But I think about the open spaces. What are we going to do with all those books, right? Because in the old days, my generation, you exhibited how intellectual you are by how many books you had. So what's that mean now? Do you walk around and show people your Kindle or wherever you're putting your stuff on and says, look how many books I got on that? It's just something really interesting to conceive and think about, and how do we utilize these spaces to really enhance knowledge transfer and learning. I think it's a very cool thing to have to contemplate. But you didn't come here just to hear Twanda speak. So let me introduce our next three speakers. I'm going to introduce them one after another, then I'm going to go sit down. And then they're going to come up individually in the order in which I call your names and give you some words of wisdom. Our first speaker will be Kate Pitcher, who joined the college in July 2016 as the director of the Library and Media Center. Kate's research and writing interests are in the areas of open digital publishing and changing scholarly communication practices, as well as how libraries are evolving to assist faculty and their institutions in meeting the challenges of a digital, networked, and open academy. We then have Keziah Osunshade, class of 2018. Did I mess it up? All right, all right. After the first time you corrected me, it's been emblazoned on my brain here. Class of 2018, she's so gracious, is a dual major from somewhere in Maryland. That one I can't say. That's okay, somewhere in Baltimore County. She is the Title IX Professional Fellow, our Pi Sigma Alpha President, Minority Association for Pre-Medical Students Navigator, and a D'Souza Brent Scholar and Mentor. And finally, last but not least, Allison Barrett from Leonardtown, Maryland, will graduate this fall with a double major. She is a Writing and Speaking Center tutor, Psi Chi secretary, Sigma Tau Delta, and Phi Beta Kappa writing intern.
Thank you, President Jordan. And I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees as well for their support of the Library, Archives, and Media Center. The library, our mission is to be a visionary, inventive, and resourceful organization, and we're committed to developing and helping to develop at St. Mary's an ethically and socially responsible community. We at the library provide equitable access to information and tools that support this pursuit of knowledge at all levels and all disciplines, and we really want to empower users to learn, collaborate, and create. So that idea of the library as a place of learning is perfectly adequate to what we're trying to create here. Hilda's generous and quiet spirit that we've heard about today, it's perfectly attuned to the mission of the library and of St. Mary's, and which is ultimately, in the end, about students and helping them succeed. And so I believe it is entirely fitting that her name is going to adorn the library building, a place where students learn, research, read, they still read, reflect, work together, and create something new. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's not, but it's always with the end goal of intellectual inquiry, engagement in making something better. It's also the library's goal to create something better, and in that way we try to create vibrant learning spaces and incorporate what Dr. Jordan mentioned here about the traditional scholarly collections that you see behind you, including print books. We're trying to incorporate those with the 21st century technology and digital media tools that our students expect. The library is an example of an academic enterprise which enables students to achieve more, do better, and succeed. And again, not just at St. Mary's, but throughout their entire life. The library's impact is not just demonstrated in facilities and collections, though. It's also in the day-to-day work that our staff participates in that affects students. And sometimes this is done through working with students on research projects, designing media assets for use in classrooms. It's also done through training our student employees and refining their professional skills. It can also be done through curating exhibits and teaching students. All staff members interact and assist our students. The library truly is a student-centered academic entity. So thank you all for being here today and celebrating Mrs. Landers' remarkable legacy to the library.
Hello, my name is Keziah Osunshade, and I'm a senior political science and public policy major with a minor in democracy studies here at St. Mary's College of Maryland. As a recipient of the Landers Trust Scholarship, my goals of academic and educational achievement are not only within my reach, but also a path to a future that is free from the financial hindrance that often associated with achieving a bachelor's degree is now a reality. The investment in my education cannot be enumerated. It is an exponential return on someone like myself who will not stop reaching until I have effectively changed the world I live in and the world I will leave to the next generation. With this financial support, I am able to fully commit myself to academic excellence and personal development opportunities. Rather than worrying about financing my college education, I spend my energy and time investing in rigorous coursework, performing at my highest capabilities, and pushing myself beyond what is expected of me. My passion for creating impact and the opportunity created by the Landers Trust Scholarship have come together to result in graduating an entire year early. Think of it, there will be a full 365 days more impact in this world from a highly committed and successful Landers Trust Scholarship recipient than if this opportunity was not provided. When I think of how I will use my extra 365 days of impact, I share them my experiences in an internship with the National Telecommunication and Information Administration's Office of International Affairs gave me great insight into my passion for the work I will do beyond St. Mary's. To have the opportunity to take an internship in government that afforded me real work experience, countless and valuable connections, and confidence in my contributions was only possible because of the generosity of the Landers Trust Scholarship. It is incumbent on me and others like me to invest in ourselves now through hard work and passion to make tomorrow the world we wish for today. It is with great pride that I also tell you that I'm furthering my commitment to the future by applying to law school to push myself even further towards academic and professional excellence I learned at St. Mary's. This is all possible because of the Landers Trust Scholarship. You can be sure that I will make a name for myself, whether through law, government, or both. This is only possible because of the Landers Trust Scholarship. I will be forever grateful and humble for being selected to be a recipient of the Landers Trust Scholarship. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Allison, and I first wanted to thank President Jordan for having this wonderful thing all set up, and the library for hosting it, and to the board, thank you so much, and to my fellow Landers Scholar, and all my Landers Scholars out there, and especially to Mr. So thank you all for taking time with us today to be present at this special naming ceremony for Hilda C. Landers. My name is Allison Barrett, and I am a student double majoring in English and psychology here at the college, and about to wrap up my last semester and preparing to move on to graduate studies. One of the reasons I am able to say that is because of the Landers Scholarship. Like many students, I have debt. Debt is a shadow that sits on the edge of your desk as you write. It stands at the far end of the room, poised to steal your sleep. It is a phantom that sits atop the shoulders and futures of many students, threatening to take time and energy from those who are often already stretched thin. However, there are ways this ghost can be exorcised, if even a little. For multiple years now, I have been given the honor of receiving the generosity of the Landers Trust, represented here today by Mr. Donald Maring, in the form of financial support. The trust takes care of a portion of my tuition so that the financial burden on my family and myself is lessened, and different opportunities can arise as a result of it. For example, during my third semester at this institution, I took a class that was required of my psychology major called Physiology and Sensory Psychology. I had never taken a class that had anything to do with physiology or the senses, so I was less than thrilled. I was even less excited when I discovered the price of the textbook required for the class. It was quite expensive. However, because I had this money, I was able to not only rent the book, but buy it, because I just had this feeling that I would need it beyond the semester. Now, a few years later, I still have this book. It's right there in that seat. I used this book through one of the toughest and most rewarding classes I have ever taken, biological psychology. I now use this book to help in my teaching assistant job for biological psychology. I use this book to study for my subject graduate exams, which I am taking so that I might apply to programs in neuroscience, the most advanced form of physiology and sensory psychology. Because I was able to buy and keep this book, I realized how amazing the world of the brain and behavior is, and I am able to share how amazing that world is with other students, and now I have the potential for a future in this field of study. Additionally, this money has assisted me in regards to my other major, English. In one of my creative writing courses, the teacher required of the students that we send out submissions to journals so that we could gain experience in the submission process, which is crucial to the writing profession. It was also an assignment in learning rejection, something equally crucial to the writing world. Because I had the gift of this money assisting me with tuition costs, I was able to buy the supplies needed to edit my papers, buy the stamps and envelopes, and send the submission out to a journal. That submission went on to be published, and now I have published evidence of the support of my teachers, my family, and the Landers Trust. Because of this support, my desk is a brighter space, freed for textbooks, binders, and notes. Because of this scholarship, I am able to sleep a little easier at night. Because of this generosity, I am able to more freely think about my future with my shoulders lifted that much higher. I am privileged and honored to be the recipient of this money, and I am eternally grateful for the time, resources, and sense of security gifted by this support. Thank you for your generosity.
They are so bright. I mean, I think we need to give them another round of applause. It also really does show the importance of philanthropy and supporting our students so they have the opportunity to really blossom and see the future and think about making an impact beyond this place. So without further ado, it is my great honor to introduce Don Mehring. Mr. Mehring is a senior counsel at Baker Donaldson in Baltimore, Maryland. He has over 30 years of experience in estate and trust law and has received numerous awards for providing estate and trust counsel, including listings in the Best Lawyers in America and Maryland Super Lawyers. Mr. Mehring was the longtime attorney and friend of Hilda Landers. He continues to steward both the Hilda C. Landers Trust and the Arthur E. Landers Jr. and Hilda C. Landers Trust. Don, welcome.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Jordan, I know it's late, and not to rain on our parade, but we have this ceremony wrong. We in the Landers Trust should be the people that are honoring the Landers Scholars. That was just fabulous, just fabulous. It's hard to express how gratifying it is to think we maybe had some small part in making that. So maybe next year we can think of doing it the other way around. So, and also, the speakers did just a fabulous job in describing Hilda Landers. There's not a whole lot for me to say. I did have the opportunity to work with and get to know the Landers for many years until Mrs. Landers' death in I have 99. Dr. Jordan said 98. I'm going to go with 98. So, Mrs. Landers was a woman of keen intellect, sharp wit, and she knew whereof she stood. She was emphatic in what she liked and what she didn't like. And some of her prime passions were poetry, education, and St. Mary's College. So how exquisitely fitting it is that she can be honored in this way that combines those principal interests in her life. She would just be delighted, just delighted to be here. I wish that she could. Although in all fairness, I have to say, she'd be a bit surprised, not just for the honor, but it would be news to Hilda C. Landers. And just for the record, she was always Mrs. Landers to me. But it would be news to Hilda if she knew that one could come to the Hilda C. Landers Library and in addition to books, borrow a laptop computer, see one of thousands of movies and documentaries, and even consult a database on rock and roll music. But I have no doubt that she would embrace these changes. And mindful of her love of poetry, I think she would agree with the words of the contemporary poet, Bob Dylan. Come, mothers and fathers throughout the land, don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your control. your road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the way, please get out of the new one if you can't lend a hand, because the times are changing. So thank you very much to the board, to Dr. Jordan, and for all who made this possible. We look forward to a long and fruitful association with St. Mary's.
Thank you. So Don and Sven, I ask you to come to the podium so we can unveil the mock-up. Do you want someone help me lift this? So I want to thank you all for coming to our brief program, but it was very important for us. We will like to invite everyone downstairs for the reception. So eat and fellowship downstairs and enjoy this space. Thanks for coming.